is Fort Bragg, isn't it? Let me tell you, what a privilege it was to be just a few miles away from here, watching a sheer demonstration of military power from the All-Americans. It's incredible. I wish every American could stand in that field and watch 600 paratroopers fall from the sky after preparatory fires and assault on the objective. That's sheer American firepower. But you know what I wish Americans could also see? What I get a chance to see every day, what other members of the cabinet get to see every day, which is our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump, putting America first. It doesn't matter the situation, whether he's meeting with foreign leaders, we're meeting in the Oval Office, or he's talking to soldiers. He's the same leader we know and love. He's laser focused on America first, on peace through strength, and on supporting our American warfighters and vets. You know exactly where his compass is. You know exactly what he believes. And what I tell troops when we travel across the world, and I've had a chance to meet so many of you fine Americans, what I always say, the message from our Commander-in-Chief is, he has your back. That matters. Let me tell you, I've been, not that long ago, in shoes and boots similar to yours. And when I was going on a mission, or I was about to take part in something that was uncertain, involved complications, the fog of war, all I wanted to know was that my company commander, battalion commander, brigade commander, division commander, and my commander-in-chief had my back when I had to do difficult things on behalf of the nation, where politicians in air-conditioned offices don't understand, and they want to second-guess. President Donald J. Trump has your back. So at the Defense Department, we're doing 3 critical things at his direction. Number 1, we're restoring the warrior ethos. We're getting back to basics. Standards, accountability, readiness, training, warfighting, lethality. We're not a college or a university. We're not interested in your woke garbage and your political correctness. We're warfighters who close with and destroy the enemy on behalf of our nation when we come home to those we love, because we don't fight because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what's behind us. That's what makes the American soldier different. So we're restoring the warrior ethos back to basics. We're also rebuilding our military. We'll have the first $1 trillion budget. You will have the best equipment in your hands to stare down the enemy. From multi-billion-dollar platforms to the best rifles, to the best equipment, to hypersonics and drones and fighters and jets, ships and carriers. Everything you need, President Trump will make sure you have. We're rebuilding the military after 4 years of deferred maintenance. And finally, we're reestablishing deterrence. Our allies know that we stand with them, and our adversaries know what we are capable of doing to them, so that we can maintain peace through strength. President Trump seeks peace. He wants peace. So do I. So do you. For our families, for our kids and our grandkids. But those who long for peace must prepare for war. And that's something the 82nd Airborne, America's 911, does every single day. So it's an absolute honor to be your 29th Secretary of Defense. You have my pledge that every single day our focus is on you and your mission and having your back. And you're about 1 minute away from hearing from your Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Trump. God bless you and God bless our nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Commander-in-Chief, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Wow, that's a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful sight to be with you in a place called Fort Bragg. Can you believe they changed that name in the last administration for a little bit? But we'll forget all about that. Well, we're going to forget all about it. I want to just say God bless the U.S. Army and God bless the USA. Great place, great group. I want to thank so many incredible soldiers and paratroopers, pilots, warriors for that awesome display of pure, unrivaled American military might. I just saw something that was crazy. You don't want to mess. I've been saying a long time, we have the best. Nobody even comes close, but they just gave me a display that you might be lucky not to see it, because it's a little scary. It was beautiful to watch. Let's hear it for the Army Special Operations and Command and the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps. What a show it was, and what a show it continues to be. And Saturday is going to be a big day in Washington, D.C. You know, a lot of people say, we don't want to do that. I say, yeah, we do. We want to show off a little bit. You know, recently, other countries celebrated the victory of World War I. France was celebrating, really. They were all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is the USA, and we're the ones that won the war. Without us, you'd all be speaking German right now. Maybe a little Japanese thrown in. But we won the war. And we don't celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday, and we're going to celebrate from now on. We're going to celebrate our greatness and our achievements. This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies. There's never been anything like it. There's never been a force like this. And I rebuilt it. I gave you so much money for 4 years. It was crazy. And we just approved our largest budget for military operations, over $1 trillion. We've never even come close. But our army has smashed foreign empires, humbled kings, toppled tyrants, and hunted terrorist savages through the very gates of hell. Our soldiers do not rest until they win. You know that better than anybody. From June 1775 to June 2025, those foolish enough to challenge America's army have been met with unyielding strength, unbreakable spirit, and unstoppable, overwhelming force. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion. That's what happens, unfortunately. That's what happens. Doesn't sound very nice, but it's true, isn't it? The last sound you ever hear will be the chilling howl of Black Hawks in the dead of night, the thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade charging over the horizon. That brigade is going to charge like you've never seen before, and hopefully I can keep you out of that, but if I don't, you're ready. Is that right? If I can keep you out of it. If I keep you out of it, that's okay, but if we need it, you're ready. You know, it's called peace through strength, isn't it? Peace through strength. For our adversaries, there's no greater fear than the United States Army. They all fear us, and we have the greatest force anywhere on earth. You know, you read different stories that others are building and building and building. We have a force like no other. They said it would take 5 years to defeat ISIS. We did it in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We let them go. Unlike other of your leaders, I let them go, and we had General Raisin Kane, who's now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, because I liked him. He was a warrior. He was a great warrior, and now he's been rewarded for his incredible work. But they said it would take 5 years, and we did it in 4 weeks. Someday I'm going to ask him to explain that one to me. But it was the television generals that said that. The real generals got out and fought, and nobody fought like them ever. But for the American people, there's no greater pride, because you are the righteous sword of American justice and the ultimate shield of American freedom. This week we remember that we only have a country because we first had an army. The army was first. In fact, the army was even before the country. You know that, right? 1 year before the country. After 250 years, we still proudly declare that we are free because you are strong. You are so strong. We're safe because you are brave, and America's flag will never fall because America's army will never, ever fail. Never going to fail. Every branch of the armed forces has played a critical role in protecting our nation, but no one has done more fighting, bleeding, and winning than the U.S. Army. Nobody's done that. The Army has earned more combat medals and more battle ribbons than any other service, and 70% of all of the medals of honor we give away medals of honor all the time at the White House to incredibly brave people, but you have 70% of them, Army soldiers, and especially our Army paratroopers, truly go all the way. You know that expression, all the way. It's one of your beautiful expressions. As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for every patriot who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that? We thank you from the absolute bottom of our hearts. Few places loom larger in Army lore than where we are gathered today. The one and only Fort Bragg, the one and only Fort Bragg. But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, you know, I came here numerous times and everybody, they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, you know, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing? We won a lot of battles from this place, and that's the way it is. It wasn't even close. When Pete and some of the generals came to see me, I said, not even close, not even close. This is the home of the Green Berets, the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. We know what 82nd Airborne Division. This is where the GIs who won the Second World War learned to pack their parachutes and push howitzers and go right into those C-47s with lots of arms and push them right out those big, beautiful doors and wield their bayonets and pry the enemy from the hedgerows of the French countryside. France needed us badly. We were there. A lot of people needed us badly. They still do, maybe worse than ever. It was here in the soil that the Army forged the medal that held strong at Bastogne. It was here the mighty paratroopers earned their wings before they rained down death from above to liberate Sicily, Normandy, and even the Netherlands. That's right. We saved the Netherlands. Every inch of this base is steeped in the legacy of those warriors who have said with pride, "Sir, I trained at Fort Bragg, sir." That was pretty cool. And that is why we restored the historic name of this very, very special place. I don't know if it could be the same place. Fort Bragg is in, that's the name. And Fort Bragg, it shall always remain. That's never going to be happening again. And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news, ladies and gentlemen, look at them all. Oh, what I have to put up with. Fake news. What I have to put up with. But they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. I think it took them a little by surprise. But for a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee. We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change. And I'm superstitious, you know, I like to keep it going, right? I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going. So that's a big story. We just announced that today to you for the first time. They said, why didn't you wait till Saturday? I said, I can't wait. I got to talk to my friends here today. This is a record crowd. You know, you never had a crowd this big. That's an honor. You think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to thank so many great leaders here today, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who's been great. By the way, Pete, thank you. Great. And he went through the wars, you know. Pete went through the wars. He had to get through a very hostile group of people that I think really don't want to see America be great again, maybe, or something. But he persevered, and he got there, and he's doing a fantastic job. Great job, Pete. Thank you very much. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, a fantastic man. Thank you, Doug. You're doing a great job. Doing a great job. Way, way up from the last administration, Veterans Administration. It's way up. You saw the recent poll. The people are happy. They weren't happy a couple of years ago. They were really happy 5 years ago. But it went downhill from there. We did so much. We got you medical. If you had to wait, if you had a delay at all, you go out to see a private doctor. We pay the bill. You take care of it. You don't wait for 6 months and end up getting very sick on something that could have been done with a little shot or a pill. We did that. Then they wanted to drop that. I said, we're not dropping it. But, Doug, I'm proud of you. I just heard some great things. Thank you very much. The Secretary of the Army, a really brilliant young guy, went to Yale. Can't have everything. Top student, Dan Driscoll. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. And we have your senators, Senator Ted Budd and Senator Tom Tillis. Thank you, fellas. Congressman Richard Hudson, Pat Harrigan. Where's Pat? Pat? Good, Pat. You're doing great. You guys are amazing. And we have the big brass, General Andrew Pappas. General, thank you. Thank you, General. Doing a great job. General John Braja. John, thank you. Great job. Thank you for today, John. General Greg Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Weimer. And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like their houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen. Remember, millions of people were allowed to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted by stupid people or radical left people or sick people. But regardless, open border policy, the dumbest policy yet, I would say even dumber than men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Even dumber than that. They're hurling bricks and cinder blocks at law enforcement. Did you see they're breaking up the sidewalks and the curbs, breaking it up with big, strong hammers? These guys are professionals. These are not amateurs. They're breaking it up because they took the bricks away from them. They came in with bricks, red bricks, that they could throw at our military and at the police in L.A., who are very good, but they weren't aggressive like our soldiers. Our soldiers really were aggressive, but they all worked together. But they came in with bricks, they were taken away, and they had hammers. Oh, wow, how did that happen? And they're pounding the sidewalk. I said, what the hell is he doing? And he's breaking it up and making it into concrete bombs in a way, and they're dropping them on our military. They're throwing them at our military. Pretty good arms they had, too. Hits guys right in the face, big chunk of concrete, worse than a brick. They're taking them up to the bridges and they're dropping them in the cars that are going by. These are animals. But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the two senators from here. I think you guys, are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those 2 votes. The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze. You saw all the cars that were burning, mobbing police officers and ICE officers who are the toughest people you'll ever meet, and they love our country, and they're getting really they want to stomp on them, but they're too tough. They don't allow it. And attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy, somebody's financing it. We're going to find out through Pam Bondi and Department of Justice who it is. They're already on it. Who's financing all this equipment? Very professional. Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy. And that's what they are. A lot of those people were let in here by the Biden administration. They just poured right in. They came from prisons. They came from jails from all over the world. They came from mental institutions. They were the leaders of gangs. They were drug lords allowed to come into our country. Their countries threw them out. Their countries would bus them or drive them right to our border and say, go in there. You ever come back, we're going to kill you. And we got them, and we're getting them out of here. I want to applaud the courage and the strength of the incredible troops who are right now standing guard to protect federal property and personnel and uphold the supremacy of federal law. That's what they're doing. They're protecting our ICE agents. They're protecting the police in Los Angeles. The head of the police in Los Angeles, a good man, I hear a good man, but he was actually saying we really did need this help. It had gotten away from them. It had long gotten away. And we gave it to them. Not only are these service members defending the honest citizens of California, they're also defending our republic itself. And they are heroes. They're in there, they're heroes. They're fighting for us. They're stopping an invasion just like you'd stop an invasion. The big difference is most of the time when you stop an invasion, they're wearing a uniform. In many ways, it's tougher when they're not wearing a uniform because you don't know exactly who they are. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent, and they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is. They're invaders, no different. Their position is that the rioting will not stop unless ICE withdraws from Los Angeles and ceases the enforcement of federal immigration law. In other words, they came in here illegally. Many of them came out of prisons and jails, the most heinous people. They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from Asia. They came from the prisons of these places. They were put into the United States and allowed to stay here because we had a grossly, grossly unfit president who listened to whoever was operating the auto pen. And they allowed these people to stay. And by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb. But you know what he was? He wasn't a radical left lunatic. He never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he was of sound mind, which actually was a very long time ago. So sad what they've done to our country. I will say that without question, however, you're seeing the financial numbers. We've now got the hottest country anywhere in the world And 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. We're being laughed at all over the world. I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. We brought back $5.1 trillion into our country. And all three leaders, they're great leaders, all three said, you know, you are presiding over the hottest country anywhere in the world. And they said the exact same thing. They said 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. I'll tell you, it changed on a date. You know what November 5th was? It was the election of a president that loves you. And that's when it all changed. That's when it all changed. Within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what? They have it in Europe, too. It's happening in many of the countries of Europe. They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very quickly. The one big, beautiful bill, you've heard about it. We call it the one big, I was on one of the television shows, I think Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Deface the Nation. It's actually called Face the Nation for those of you that are smart enough not to know, because you're better off not knowing. But I was on one of the shows, and I said, we got to get a great bill. They said, would you like it to be one bill, or would you like it to be 7 or 8 bills? They said, I want one big, beautiful bill. And the Republican Party liked that statement. They call it one big, beautiful bill, so that's good. And that's what it is. It's great. And it's currently before Congress. It provides all necessary funding for ICE, for Border Patrol, and for the Department of Defense. And I told you, at a level that we've never had before, over $1 trillion. We better get that bill approved. Otherwise, your helicopters and your planes and your equipment's going to start to look a little bit old, General. You better push your favorite congressman. You better push these 2 senators. I think they're in good shape, however. But we got to get it approved. And those congressmen by you are all 100%. I don't even have to talk to them. They've been so great. So I want to sign this into law immediately. And with the signing, so many great things will happen to our country. No tax on tips. Think of that. No tax, seniors on Social Security. No tax on overtime. They're going to pay for themselves. And if you get a car, and if you borrow money to buy the car, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment if it's a new car made in America. Only if it's made in America. If it's made in Japan or China or any place else, we're not really interested in your deduction. I was elected winning all 7 swing states, the popular vote by millions and millions of votes, and all counties throughout America by 2,750 to 525. That's what I call a big number. But this is a mandate from the people to restore the sovereign borders of the United States, and that is exactly what we're doing. Not only the borders, the financial institutions, and our country itself. We will not be deterred. And the mob in Los Angeles or anyone else, anywhere else, will not succeed. They don't even have a little chance. And I will be calling you early as I see this happening because, in theory, I guess you could say a governor could call, but they don't call. They let their city burn, like in Minneapolis with this guy who ran for vice president against J.D. That was a good debate, J.D. against this guy. Remember how bad he was? That was one of the, I said, J.D., there's never been a man like you're competing against. This is the worst. I think he's running for president, too. Can you believe it? But he's a radical left lunatic. And I'll never forget, in Minnesota, that city was burning down. Minneapolis was burning down. It was going to burn to the ground, and he wouldn't call the guard. And I waited for a long time, and I called the guard, and I saved it. But I wish I would have called it the first day. And I said, if this ever happens again, because I was thinking about running because the election was rigged and stolen, we all know it. I said, we're going to run again, and if I win, which I hope, remember, we're going to make it too big to rig. But we did. We won by millions and millions of votes. So beautiful to watch. That was such a beautiful 9:02 in the evening. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is projected to be the winner." I said, "Well, you think that was easy? I don't think these ladies from North Carolina think it was easy. You know, they followed me. I don't know what happened to their husbands. They're married to very nice people. But they've been to, 138 rallies. They said more. And they're from North Carolina. It's nice that we have one nearby finally, right? They go all over the country. I don't know what the hell's going on, but they're great. They're North Carolina, beautiful, wonderful woman, and we appreciate it. Like 130 rallies or some crazy number. Are your husbands satisfied with that? Are they okay? Oh, here he is. He showed up. One of them showed up. That's great. Congratulations. Great women, actually. The great patriots. We will use every asset at our disposal to quell the violence and restore law and order right away. We're not going to wait 7 days and 8 days and wait for a governor that's never going to call and watch cities burn. And let me tell you, if we didn't do this, Los Angeles would burn. It would be burning to the ground right now, just like their houses burned to the ground just a few months ago. And the only flag that will wave triumphant over the streets of Los Angeles is the American flag. So help me God. The American flag is the one that's going to wave triumphantly over the streets. And now let's get back to the true reason we're here today, celebrating 250 years of unbreakable Army courage. This week we commemorate not just the starting point in Army history, but a turning point in the history of the world. That's how important it is. When the Continental Congress created the Army and appointed its first commander, name happened to be George Washington. Has anybody heard of him? George Washington. Are you okay, darling? Are you all right? Yeah, take your time, please. Doctor, please. Doctor. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you very much. These are great people. They've been waiting here a long time, General, so, you know, we want to give them all the time they need, right? Thank you very much. Greatest people in the world. They are amazing. Amazing. Oh, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, honey. Thank you. Beautiful young person. Beautiful young person. We have a lot of young people. You know, they have. We won young people, old people, and everything in between. It's sort of nice. Remember, they used to say, but Trump doesn't have the young people. We won everything. Thank you very much, Doctor. Great job. When the Continental Congress created the Army and appointed its first commander, General George Washington, they sent the fierce spirit of a free nation into battle under a rallying cry that echoes to this day. Give me liberty or give me death. Have you heard of it? Quite a beautiful statement. Think of what that means. Give me liberty or give me death. I know exactly what that means. Just 3 days after the birth of the Army, the great patriot, founding father, Dr. Joseph Warren, was on the front lines as a soldiers stood totally outnumbered and outgunned at Bunker Hill. They had a group of soldiers against them that was supposed to be, in that day, unbeatable. Warren's mother had begged him, son, please don't do it. She said, please, please don't do it. Don't risk your life for even the patriot cause, please. And he replied, wherever danger is, dear mother, there your son will be. I will either set my country free or shed my last drop of blood to make us so. So beautiful. So the words are so beautiful. At Bunker Hill, Warren kept his vow, fighting and fighting and fighting and loving his country until he fell, drenched in blood, and gave his life at the very young age of 34. Exactly 250 years later, we are joined by Dr. Warren's great-great-great-great-great-grandson, and it's 7 generations down, and now an Iraq war veteran, retired Army specialist, Scott Warren, is here with his daughter, Sergeant E5 Carrington Sanders of Fort Irwin. I want to just, where are you? Where would you be in this big crowd? Thank you very much. What an honor. What an honor. You look great, too, by the way. You really look great. Thank you very much. What a great family. But you carry in your veins the love and devotion of a martyr for American liberty. Please stand. Just put that hand up once more for the people, because they want. Thank you very much. You're looking good. Looking good. Good genes. Good genetics. Thank you both. Thank you very much. The life of a soldier is not just a job, it's a calling and a sacred tradition passed down from father to son, brother to sister, and one generation to the next. At every hour of danger, our noblest citizens have answered that call, kissed their loved ones goodbye, and run to the sound of guns. You run to the sound of guns, you're running right into them, you're going to win. When the British tried to reconquer our young nation in 1812, 1,000 Americans at Fort McHenry fought off a British invasion fleet, 5,000 strong. They say it was unstoppable. Lieutenant Francis Scott Key, you all heard the name, watched from Baltimore Harbor as the Army kept Old Glory flying high. Many people died. Deeply inspired, he wrote a poem in tribute to Army courage and American pride, known today as the Star-Spangled Banner, or our national anthem. Great. 8 generations later, we're joined by a descendant of Francis Scott Key, who has spent 2 decades in uniform, Major Kyle Key of Army National Guard fame. Please. Major, where are you, Major? Thank you. Thank you. Looking good, too. What's going on here? These guys they all come from a very fine strain of blood. That's great genetics is right. Thank you both very much. Major Key, thank you for helping to keep this incredible land of ours free and the home of the brave, and that's what it was. Through the decades that followed, the Army conquered the great frontier, won the war that restored our nation and broke forever the chains of slavery. A generation later, the Army's Rough Riders stormed up San Juan Hill with Colonel Theodore Roosevelt and swept the last foreign empire from the American hemisphere, forever swept. In World War I, our doughboys fought bravely in the Valley of the Marne and in the Argonne. There in 1918, a devout Tennessee Christian named Alvin York, you know that name, charged across an open field towards the German machine guns. They were firing at levels at that time that nobody had ever seen before. They were knocking down everything in their way, including giant trees were coming down. The enemy mowed down more than half of his platoon almost immediately. The platoon was going down like nobody's ever thought possible. But York pressed on into the jaws of death. He slayed German after German and returned with 132 prisoners from behind the enemy lines. And he had the option of killing them, and he didn't want to do that. And that's okay, isn't it, right? It's okay. But he brought 132 back. And his actions and the actions of that great day, that crazy but great day, Sergeant York earned the Congressional Medal of Honor and became one of the most famed and decorated heroes of the First World War. Very famous, actually, because of the movie that was made. And we're joined today by Sergeant York's grandson, Army Colonel Gerald York. Gerald? Thank you. Thank you, Gerald. Thank you very much. It's great, great honor to have you. Thank you, Gerald. At his grandfather's funeral in 1964, Gerald was told by the command sergeant major of Fort Bragg that it was about time he joined the Army. And he volunteered for combat in Vietnam and gave the Army 31 of his best years. No, I think your best years are right now. You look very good. Your best years are right now. Keep it going. But Colonel York, we salute you. We salute your family and the fame and the bravery of your family. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. And in World War II, the Army once again came to the free world's rescue. Among the millions and millions who volunteered was Henry Armstrong. He enlisted 6 months before his high school graduation and did basic training right here at Fort Bragg. By the next year, he was in Normandy. He fought his way across France as part of Patton's Third Army, crossed the Rhine into the heart of Germany, and helped liberate a Nazi concentration camp. He was a brave person. Command Sergeant Major Henry Armstrong is here with us today. He's 100 years old, a veteran of numerous World War II battles, and 41 years in the Army. Thank you. Wow. These are great, amazing people. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you very much. He's joined by his grandson, Army Major Dennis Armstrong. Dennis, I assume that's you, right? Thank you, Dennis. And Dennis's wife, Captain Shelley Armstrong. They love the military, and they love our country. Thank you very much, Shelley. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And their son, Tanner. Where's Tanner? Let me see. Oh, he looks good, too. They all look good. Tanner might look the best, actually. Thank you very much. Who's an active duty staff sergeant in the 82nd Airborne right here in Fort Bragg. He could right now run for office, I think. He's very popular. In Korea, our warriors held the front line in the battle against communism and liberated millions and millions into the light of freedom. To Vietnam, we sent some of the toughest men who ever wore Army boots and olive drab. One of them was Joe Marm of Pennsylvania. He was 23 years old when his platoon was ordered to rescue soldiers surrounded by the enemy in the Battle of Ya Drang. Lieutenant Marm charged into heavy fire, killing 4 enemy soldiers in the brush before sprinting across 40 yards of open field. His teammates could not believe he was doing it, actually, they said. He then tossed a grenade that killed 8 Viet Cong gunners, plunged into the trenches, and killed still more before being shot in the jaw, badly in the jaw. He successfully cleared the way for his men to save their stranded comrades, and frankly, for his men to save their own lives. He was unbelievable. For his exceptional bravery, Lieutenant Marm received the Congressional Medal of Honor and retired as an Army colonel after 30 years of service. Colonel Marm is here today with his 2 sons, Will and Walter, both Army Rangers. What a great family legacy. Please stand up. How's your jaw feeling? All right? The jaw? It's all right? Looks pretty good. I wish mine looked that good. It's very good. Thank you very much. Great family. Appreciate it. Real heroes. In the modern era, our soldiers have charged into the darkest caves and ventured into the most God-forsaken places to vanquish the forces of radical Islamic terror from the face of the earth. In 2007, Chief Warrant Officer Eric Phillips was stationed at a remote outpost in the Afghan mountains when a massive Taliban force attacked from all sides. He thought he was finished. For 3 hours, he led a hellacious counter-assault to successfully repulse the enemy in close combat. In the same deployment, Eric again repelled an attack by a vastly larger enemy force, saving countless lives. For his spectacular gallantry, Chief Phillips earned the Distinguished Service Cross and the Silver Star, becoming among the most highly decorated warriors of any branch in the war on terror. Actually, he is the most decorated, and it's not even that close. Many, many battles, many, many medals. And he's with us today, Chief Phillips. You did us all proud. Please stand up, Chief Phillips. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You are Army strong. Thank you very much, Chief. From the American Revolution until today, the story of the Army is the tale of an unbroken chain of American patriots who gave all they had for this country. It is the saga of epic men like Washington and Jackson, Grant and Custer, Pershing and Eisenhower, Patton and MacArthur, Wild Bill Donovan, and the great General William Yarborough, father of the Green Berets. You know that, the Green Berets? You know that? William Yarborough. It's the story of fabled units like the Old Guard, the Iron Brigade, the Big Red One, the Buffalo Soldiers, the Harlem Hellfighters, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Screaming Eagles, and George Patton's Hell on Wheels. They called it Hell on Wheels. When he was after you, it was not good. The weapons of war have changed with every generation, but the unflinching loyalty of the American soldier has always remained the same. The Army has always stayed true to its motto, "This we'll defend." You know that. This we'll defend. Army warriors who have laid down their lives for America rest by the thousands in the sacred soil of Arlington and Gettysburg, Anzio and Manila, and to far-off places known only to God. We owe everything to them. Today we renew our devotion to the cause of liberty for which they so selflessly lived and fought and so bravely died. There could be no greater tribute to their memory than to prepare the Army to dominate America's enemies for the next 250 years and more than that. That's why under the Trump administration, we're focused on restoring the spirit of the U.S. Armed Forces. No soldier ever volunteered for the Army to be lectured about transgender diversity or inclusion. You don't want to hear that. Transgender for everybody. We don't do that. America's patriots joined the Army to kick down doors, storm beaches, kill terrorists, and win America's wars. That's what we want. And that's what you want. And to that end, we're making that record investment, but not only in the Army, in the other forces also, because you work together as a team. And we're including in that and across the board. Now, you don't have to take this if you don't want. You could be great patriots, say, I don't want a raise. I will not accept it. Let it go back into our country. Let's give it to Gavin Newsom so he can waste it in Los Angeles. No, we don't want to do that, but we're giving you across the board raise for every single service member in the U.S. Armed Forces. We're giving you across the board, and you deserve it. You know, we spend so much money on things that we shouldn't be spending it on, but I think those days are stopping, Mr. Senators and Congressmen that are with us. As part of our one big, beautiful bill, we are also investing over $1 billion to update your on-base housing, and we're building a state-of-the-art missile defense shield to protect our homeland, and it's called the Golden Dome. It's going to be all made in America. We've done it for others. We're now doing it for about time, right? We're doing it for ourselves. After years of recruiting shortfalls, this is, to me, maybe the most exciting things. We're setting the strongest peacetime recruiting records ever. Just think of this. 6 months ago, we couldn't recruit anybody to join the military. Nobody wanted to join. That was 6 months ago. And then we had the election of November 5th. And now we have the strongest recruiting numbers in the history of our country. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? We've already surpassed our recruiting targets for 2025, and We're not done yet. And I'll tell you, it doesn't make you feel good when you had to hear 6, 7 months ago that nobody wants to join the Army, they don't want to join our military. Frankly, they didn't want to join our police, our firemen. They lost confidence, they lost faith in our country. And just a short number of months later, we're setting all-time records. In fact, your job might be in jeopardy. Somebody else may come in and take it. That was bad. We'll get you out of here. You have to be good. We're getting the best people that you've ever seen. We're getting people I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. Great people are coming in. Doesn't it make you feel good, though? You have something and you're doing something and other people want to join you. Isn't that a great feeling? And wasn't it a lousy feeling just a short time ago when they announced, you're a soldier and you're proud of your country and you're proud of the Army in your case, and you're reading stories about nobody wants to come in and join the military, right? Isn't that lousy? Even the ladies from North Carolina were not happy with that. But then we had a great election. It was amazing. Too big to rig. We had a great election, and all of a sudden, the people are pouring in, and we have incredible people like Pete and the others that are here, Dan. I think they made a big difference. I really do. So thank you very much. All of you guys, I think you've really made a big difference. The Army will soon be stronger, bigger, and better than ever before. And every new soldier that joins our ranks will kindle the same fighting spirit exemplified by the likes of Sergeant Major Jim Schmidt, who's no longer with us. At 15 years old, after lying about his age, because he wanted to get in so badly, Jim trained at Fort Bragg to fight in World War II. When Jim's middle school wrote to ask if he would attend his 8th grade graduation, he wrote back, "That will be impossible, as I'm rather busy now. I'm in the hinterlands hunting down Germans," and I have to say this, and Italians. I know there are a couple of Germans and Italians here. As a paratrooper, he made the famous drops at Sicily and Salerno while still a young boy, too young to be in. The Army kicked him out. They found out about it. They kicked him out. They discovered he was way underage. They said, "Jim, you got to get out of here. You're a hell of a soldier, but you got to get out." But that didn't stop Jim. He enlisted in the Navy. But the moment he turned 18, he came right back and he joined the 82nd Airborne. How about that? He went on to fight at the Chosin Reservoir in Korea, rough place. Saw combat in Vietnam and ended his career right back at Fort Bragg, having earned 2 Silver Stars, 3 Bronze Stars, and 2 Purple Hearts. With us today is Jim's widow, Peggy, and their beloved grandson, Army Specialist Christian Forbes, who is currently deployed at our southern border defending our country from an invasion, whether we like it or not. It's an invasion, but I don't know if you've heard, the invasion was 99.9% stopped. Did you hear that? 99? Could even be more right. 99.999% stopped. That invasion is stopped, so I think he's in good shape. Specialist Forbes, I want to thank you for defending America, and you've obviously done a good job because that invasion has been stopped, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you, wherever you may be. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great. We stopped that sucker, didn't we, huh? We stopped it. Thank you very much. Each and every one of you here today carries in your souls the love, strength, and courage of millions upon millions of Army patriots who came before you. Your uniforms bear the same stars and stripes that our ancestors carried to victory at Yorktown, across the Great Plains, and over our Rockies, up the Missionary Ridge, down through the streets of Paris. That's right, we went down the streets of Paris. We've got to help our allies, don't we? Across the sands of North Africa and onto the shores of Omaha Beach, into the blood-soaked hills of Korea. And it was a West Point graduate named Buzz Aldrin who first planted our great American flag on the face of the moon. We know that. Now it's your turn to carry that flag forward and to add your own daring deeds into this chronicle of triumph and legends. Now it's your duty to shield the flame of freedom that was first lit 250 years ago by the heroes of Concord Bridge and Bunker Hill. Standing before you today, I am more confident than ever that in the days ahead and every generation to come, the U.S. Army will heap glory upon glory upon glory upon us all. You will protect every inch of U.S. soil, and you will defend America to the ends of the earth. Wherever danger is, there the U.S. Army will be. Another beautiful phrase. Whatever peril comes our way, whatever menace threatens our people, you will stand strong, you will be proud, you will charge hard, and you will keep that flame lit, that beautiful, beautiful flame. You're going to keep it lit. You will hold the flag high, and you will do something that's become quite a famous little phrase also, but you're a hell of a lot braver than me. You will fight, 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 and you will win, win, win. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our soldiers, and God bless the U.S. Army. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.